Okay. Chill. Wait, let me also connect the good mic. Let me connect the good mic to the laptop now. Allah, hi, थक गया हूँ मैं. Let me connect the good mic to the laptop. Uh, okay, now you guys can hear me better. Gucci Prada, okay, it's your choice. If you want to write Gucci Prada, you can write. But now we're going to do mixed organic chemistry questions, and hopefully these questions will revise a lot of the organic chemistry for you. ठीक है जी? शुरू करें? Okay. The reaction scheme shows five organic reactions numbered 1 to 5. See, you have this beautiful ethanol right here, which is an alcohol. And how many carbon alcohol is this? It's ethanol, it's a 2 carbon alcohol. And what will be the formula for this 2 carbon alcohol? You know, the general formula for ethanol or for any alcohol is CnH2n plus 1 OH, right? So if we talk about the formula for ethanol, it'll be jitne carbons hai, which are 2, hydrogens will be twice the number of that plus 1. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5 OH. That's your beautiful alcohol, right? And it's given you certain reactions, and you need to identify what's going on here, right? So if you take ethanol and you perform a certain reaction, it's going to give you carbon dioxide and water. Which reaction is this? You realize that ethanol is a fuel effectively, right? And in complete combustion, what happens is these fuels, they react with oxygen to give you carbon dioxide and water, excess oxygen effectively, right? So, sir, did this question Aaj in Academy? Awesome. So this reaction is basically a complete combustion reaction. It's a complete combustion reaction, reaction 2, right? And if you look at number one, let's look at number one. You have sugar going into ethanol. Sugar is effectively what? Glucose, right? He's talking about glucose. ये मैंने आपको घर पे शराब बनाने का तरीका भी सिखाया था, right? So you have this beautiful glucose and it's going into ethanol. What are the conditions needed? This particular reaction, this particular type of reaction is called fermentation of what? It's fermentation of glucose. But the conditions for these are you need to add yeast, you need to provide a temperature of 25 to 35 degrees Celsius, and there must be the absence of oxygen. Sir, why do you need to provide the temperature of 35 degrees Celsius? Because you need to realize that this is the optimum temperature. If you go above 35 degrees Celsius, there is a possibility that the yeast might get denatured. And if you go below 25 degrees Celsius, there's a possibility that the yeast might become deactivated, right? जिसको हम कहते हैं deactive, right? Are there enzymes in yeast? No, yeast in itself is an enzyme. Achha, enzymes are biological catalyst. And why is there a condition of absence of oxygen? Because yeast needs to respire anaerobically. All of these reasons, you study it in bio, they are not a part of your chemistry. The examiner is not going to ask you the whys for these two. Huh? Acha ji. So you need your beautiful glucose, and you realize that if I use glucose, what's going to happen is you'll find 2 moles of ethanol forming, and you'll also form carbon dioxide, 2 moles of carbon dioxide. Done, sir. Now it's saying that this ethanol can also be formed from an alkene. That's basically an addition reaction, which we call as our hydration reaction, right? So this is addition reaction of alkenes. It's also sometimes known as the catalytic addition reaction. Why do you call it catalytic addition reaction sometimes? Because you need a catalyst for it, right? You first of all need a reagent. What is the reagent? Reagent is steam. And what's the catalyst for it? The catalyst is acidified aqueous phosphoric acid. For your course now, you could just write acid, right? You need to provide a temperature of 300 degrees Celsius, a pressure of 60 atmospheres, and the catalyst has already been mentioned. Done, sir. Then he says that this alkene can also form an alkene. We just revised all of these reactions. If an alkene forms an alkene, you know that the difference between an alkene and alkene is of literally hydrogen gas, right? So if you just add H2 to an alkene, because you realize that alkene's general formula is CnH2n, and alkane's general formula is CnH2n plus 2. There are 2 more hydrogens in an alkane relative to an alkene. So in order to go from an alkene to an alkene, you just need to add what? You just need to add hydrogen as your reagent. But again, you need certain conditions, which is nickel solid as your catalyst, and you heat it till about 200 degrees Celsius, anywhere from 100 to 200, right? You don't need to know the words for it. Is this hydration, halogenation, hydrogenation? For your course, they are all addition reaction. But if you want to sound fancy for it, this is the addition of hydrogen, so it's called hydrogenation. And this is the addition of steam, so it's called hydration. But you don't need to know these fancy words. You just need to know that they are both addition reactions, please. So ये question कहाँ है? I can't find it in my booklet. They are in your booklet. This is chapter 16.9, the last chapter. ठीक है जी? So it is a hydration reaction. This reaction 3 is hydration, but you're gonna say it's an addition reaction. This is hydrogenation, but this hydrogenation and hydration, they are effectively what? An addition reaction. Nahin, answer me, you don't need to write hydration, hydrogenation, halogenation, hydrohalogenation. No. In your answer, you just need to write addition reactions. ठीक है जी? अच्छा, और वो कह रहे ethanol can also go into compound C through this fifth reaction. Now I don't know what this fifth reaction is and what not. तो अब देखेंगे कि सवाल क्या कहता है. ठीक है, name reaction one. So you're going from sugar to ethanol. What is this reaction? Reaction called. What is the name? It's called fermentation. Right, and it's what? Fermentation of what? Fermentation of glucose. Glucose को हम ferment करके ethanol बनाते हैं. ये बेटा सबके सवाल है, IGCSE O level दोनों के. IGCSE O level course is now the same, largely 99% for chemistry. It's 99% same after 2023. ठीक है, of glucose लिखना होता है नहीं. You don't need to write glucose. If you write it, it's your choice. Just write fermentation. It's reaction. Reaction का नाम पूछे, ये नहीं पूछ रहा कि किस चीज का fermentation, और सिर्फ पूछ रहा है reaction को क्या कहते हैं. Fermentation कहते हैं, but it's fermentation of glucose. I'm saying this again and again because once in an MCQ they tested, they gave you 4 options and two of the options was, one said fermentation of ethanol, one said fermentation of glucose. कुछ बच्चों ने fermentation of ethanol सर्कल कर दिया. मतलब fermentation of glucose से ethanol बनता है. fermentation of ethanol क्या होता है यार? ठीक है, तो इसलिए मैं बार बार कह रहा हूँ ये बात. सर 2023 में क्या ऐड हुआ है बेटा? सिलेबस देखो, कुछ नहीं ऐड हुआ. हुए हैं चीजें ऐड, रिमूव हुए, लेकिन सिलेबस देखो. अब तो हम ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री सॉल्व करें. नेम रिएक्शन 2 एंड राइट द केमिकल इक्वेशन फॉर दिस रिएक्शन. सो रिएक्शन 2 इज कॉल्ड combustion. And which type of combustion is this? It's effectively complete combustion. If it were incomplete combustion, you would end up with carbon monoxide and water. So I'll just call it combustion because he's saying name the reaction. You don't need to write complete. If you want, you could write this in the bracket, complete combustion, but no need. Right, and what is the equation for it? You have ethanol. Ethanol is jitne carbons hai, hydrogens are twice the number of that. O plus 1, OH plus O2 gives me what? Carbon dioxide and H2O. And now if I were to balance it, you know the number of carbons that you have in ethanol are the number of CO2s that are going to form. So if you have 2 carbons in ethanol, there'll be 2 CO2s forming. And now if you check hydrogens out, there are 6 hydrogens on the left, 5 plus 1, 6, and you only have 2 here. So what should I multiply 2 with to get 6? What should I multiply 2 with to get 6? X equals 6 over 2, that's 3. So I'm going to insert this beautiful 3 right here. And now you just need to balance these O's, right? So you have 2 times 2, that's 4. 4 plus 3, that's 7. So you have 7 O's on the right. You have 7 O's on the right, and you already have 1 O on the left. So how many more O's do you need here? 2 को किससे multiply करूं कि कितने आ जाए? You only need 6 more, right? Because you already have 1 present. And in totality, on the right, you have 7 O's. On the left, you have 1 here. So how many more do you need? We need 6 more. So what should I multiply 2 with to get 6? X is equal to 3 areno. I'm just going to insert this beautiful 3. Now, students ask these questions, sir, do we need to write state symbols? Do we not need to write state symbols? All of you who are asking for balancing, you guys can watch organic chemistry videos. Balancing बहुत आसान है. Organic chemistry की balancing हलवा है, right? देखिए, जितने कार्बन्स होते हैं ना, उतने ही कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड बनते हैं, और जितने हाइड्रोजन्स होते हैं उसका आधा जो है पानी बनता है. सो इफ यू 6 H's, उसका आधा पानी बनता है. एंड इन द एंड यू जस्ट बैलेंस दिस O. यू ऑलरेडी हैव 1 O हियर, देयर वर 7 O's ऑन द राइट, 1 O इज ऑलरेडी हियर. तो आपको 6 और चाहिए. तो इस 2 को मैं क्या करूं कि 6 आए, 3 से मल्टीप्लाई करूँ. बैलेंसिंग इज द इजीएस्ट. यू जस्ट नीड टू वॉच वीडियोस फॉर इट. मेरी वीडियोस होंगी कुछ ना कुछ शायद अपलोडेड होगी. अच्छा, so some students ask this question, sir, do we need to write state symbols or no? It's very, very simple to identify this. अपने से टर्नेलियां नहीं मारनी, अपने से टर्नेलियां नहीं मारनी. देखें, 1 mark is for this, 1 mark is for writing the equation, and 1 mark is for balancing. If this was a 4 mark question, then I would look into state symbols. अपने से टर्नेली इसलिए नहीं मारनी क्योंकि अगर आप state symbols लिखेंगे और वो गलत लिखेंगे तो एग्जामिनर आपका मार्क काट देगा. This is what the examiner says, not me. So you realize that 1 mark is for this, 1 mark is for the equation, and 1 mark is for balancing. So you get fully 3 marks. No need to write state symbols. But if it were a 4 mark question, then you would be, pushed forward to write the state symbols well. So इस equations में हमेशा marks. If it's a 2 mark equation, one is for writing the equation and the other one is for balancing. If it's a 3-mark equation, then one is for writing the equation, one is for balancing the equation, and one is for the state symbols. So no need to write state symbols here. Agar likhne the ethanol is liquid, oxygen is gas, this is liquid, but no need to write it, because if you write a wrong or an incorrect state symbol, examiner will deduct a mark for it. Negative marking isko nahi kehte, examiner kaatega mark bas. वो कहते क्यों टर्नेलिया कर रहे हो. 3 मार्क है. व्हाट अबाउट 1 मार्क. 1 मार्क में सिर्फ इक्वेशन लिखनी होती है, फिर बैलेंसिंग, वैसे बैलेंसिंग करनी होती है, लेकिन चलो 1 मार्क का कम ही आता है. अच्छा, reaction 3 forms ethanol from alkene A. So reaction 3 forms ethanol from alkene A. This is an addition reaction, right? Now it says identify alkene A. If it forms the alcohol with 2 carbons, it must be made from a 2-carbon alkene, and a 2-carbon alkene is called ethene. Right? Now it says state the type of reaction that occurs during reaction 3. It's called an addition reaction. No need to write hydration, right? So I'm going to say it's an addition reaction. You could also say catalytic addition, but addition reaction. Do I need to write reaction? Bas upar reaction likha hai na, likh le chale. Addition reaction. Push. Acha. Sir, is hydration wrong? You guys are asking repetitive questions. I said this like 4 times in the past 2 minutes. If you want to write hydration, write it. There's no problem with it. But it's better to write addition reaction, because hydration is a type of addition reaction. Halogenation, a type of addition reaction. Hydrohalogenation, a type of addition reaction. Hydrogenation, a type of addition reaction. State the reagents and conditions needed for reaction 3. What is the reagent? The reagent is steam. Please, it's not water, it's steam. So I'm going to say, hey, the reagent is what? That's steam. And the conditions are what? What are the conditions for it? The conditions are, you have a beautiful temperature of 300 degrees Celsius, you need 60 atmospheres, and you need a catalyst, which is acidified aqueous phosphoric acid, or you could use any acid, or you could use literally any acid. And why is Canva showing up? Canva क्यों खुल रहा है? जी अभी हाँ जी बोले. Do isomers of same alcohol need the same number? No comments, because we are doing this, kiddo. I've आखिर में पूछेगा ऐसे सवाल. अच्छा, alkene A is converted into alkene B in reaction 4. So you're going from an alkene A into alkene B. How do you go from an alkene into an alkene? There's just a difference of H2, right? हम क्या कहेंगे, sir? State the reagent. What is the reagent? The reagent is hydrogen. So the reagent, you could write your answer just like I'm writing it. बिल्कुल आप ऐसे लिख सकते. The reagent is H2, and what is the condition for it? What is the condition for it? The conditions are, you need a catalyst, which is, catalyst is what? Nickel solid. And what is your beautiful other condition? That's heat till 200 degrees Celsius, right? Or a temperature of 200 degrees Celsius. 100 से 200 में कोई भी लिख सकते हैं. So that's the 3 marks. One for this, one for this, one for this. State the general formula of alkanes. जितने carbons हैं, hydrogens are twice the number of that plus 2. Ethanol is oxidized by reaction 5. Oh, my beauty. Ethanol is oxidized by reaction 5. You know that when ethanol oxidizes in any reaction, what does it form? It forms carboxylic acid. So if ethanol had oxidized, it would give you a carboxylic acid. What would be the name of that carboxylic acid? It's a 2-carbon alcohol. So it's going to give you a 2-carbon carboxylic acid, which is what? Ethanoic acid, yeah? Ethanoic acid. And if I were to write the molecular formula of ethanoic acid, you're going to say carbons jitne hain, hydrogens are twice the number of that, plus 1 COOH, right? So that's the formula for ethanoic acid. And if I were to make the structure of ethanoic acid, you know that whenever you make a carboxylic acid, we first of all make the functional group, which is C double bonded to OH. This is 1 carbon, and eth means 2 carbons. So you just bond all the other carbons to it. So eth means 2 carbons. So you bond the other carbon and draw the hydrogens, right? That's the structure effectively. Oh, yaar, garmi ho gayi. Acha, it says identify the other reagent in 5. So what you do is you heat it and you use dilute sulfuric acid, whatnot. But what is the other reagent? What is the other reagent? The other reagent is what do you need for oxidation? You need an oxidizing agent, right? So what is that reagent? It's potassium manganate. It is potassium manganate 7. Manganate 7. 7 is the oxidation number of the manganate ion, of the Mn in the manganate ion. Carboxylic acid general formula is gimmicky. No, it's not gimmicky. इसका general formula is very simple. Carboxylic acid's general formula is जितने carbons and hydrogens are twice the number of that plus one COOH, right? But if you were to write the formula for ethanoic acid using the general formula, you realize that you already have one carbon right here. You already have one carbon right here. So how many more carbons do you need to insert in this N? Obviously, because you have one carbon already here, you just need to add one more. So C1H 2 times 1 plus 1 3. That's why I wrote it like this. Sir, acidified, yeah, simple. That's a very good question. Khadija is saying, sir, but we used to use acidified aqueous potassium manganate 7, right? Why are you just writing potassium manganate? Because he's written above dilute sulfuric acid. So he's already given the condition for it being acidified. He's saying, what is the other reagent? I am saying that I'm acidifying it, but which reagent am I acidifying? That's potassium manganate 7. So there's no need to write acidified. Acidified लिखना जरूरी है, बिल्कुल जरूरी है, लेकिन इधर उसने कहा है कि मैंने उसको acidify किया. देखें, by heating it with dilute sulfuric. Acidified का क्या मतलब है? You're just adding more acid to it. सर, हैव यू वॉच दैट वीडियो जिसमें एक जनरल फॉर्मूला बताते हैं और खुद खुद के बताओ एल्केन अल्कीन का सामान्य सूत्र. रिएजेंट इज व्हाट यू रिएक्टेड विद. Name the homologous series compound C belongs to. So this compound C is obviously now, this compound C right here, we now know that it's carboxylic acid, right? And it is formed through the oxidation of potassium manganate. अच्छा, मजे की बात है, इसका प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेशन आपने कभी देखा है? पुराने टाइम में ना, when your testing was not that what's it called, electronic, तो होता क्या था कि if you would drink and drive, what the police would do or the cops would do is they'd ring that horn and they'd tell you to stop. And then what they'd do is, if you were actually drunk, they would have a balloon, right? And the walls of that balloon would have a layering of acidified aqueous potassium manganate 7, right, which is purple in color. And they tell you to blow into that balloon. And once you'd blow into that balloon and you'd be drunk, you'd have vapors of ethanol coming out onto that acidified aqueous potassium manganate 7, which is purple in color. So what would happen is that purple color would go from purple to colorless, and you'd be handcuffed because they'd realize that you are actually in fact drunk, right? I've told you this before, but not the students who haven't taken my classes. Achha, name the homologous series. What is that homologous series to which compound C belongs to? That's carboxylic acids. Carboxylic acids. Khatam. Draw the structure of compound C showing all atoms. So how do you draw compound C? Compound C is formed from ethanol. So obviously it's ethanoic acid. And how do you draw the structure of a carboxylic acid? Ethanoic acid. First of all, we draw the functional group, which is C double bonded to OOH. And then we just complete the carbons, right? So because it's ethanoic acid, I'll bond it to one more carbon, and then the rest I'll complete as hydrogen. You would get 0 mark for this. Why would you get 0 marks for what I've done? Why would you get 0 marks for what I have done? Why would we get 0 marks? Acha, no hydrogen, chalo hydrogen dal diye. Now, even now, you'd get 0 marks. Absolutely, you all are right. Absolutely. Please be careful. It says show all atoms and all the bonds. OH is not showing all the bond. O being bonded to H is basically showing all the bonds. So you need to show all the bonds. और बेहतर है ना, इस O को थोड़ा slanted आप लिखे ऐसे करके. O bonded to H. आपकी मर्जी है, आप सीधा सीधा भी लिख सकते हैं. असल में यूं कुछ दिखता है, लेकिन है, it doesn't make a difference. So we need to be very careful when you realize that it says show all the bonds. Sir, what if we make dot and cross? No, 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 no. Dot and cross क्यों बनाने हैं यार? क्या हो गया? ये displayed structure बनाना है. Moving on to the next question. आसान था. 15 मार्क्स, मतलब मुफ्त में 15 मार्क्स. दुआ करो ये आ जाए. सर ऑल्सो पूछा था डिस्प्लेड फार्मूला एंड स्ट्रक्चरल फार्मूला डिफरेंसेस. What you need to understand is when it says draw the structural formula, it requires the displayed formula. If it says draw the displayed formula, it requires the displayed formula. But if it says write the structural formula, then you just write it, right? You take each carbon and take its bond. So this carbon is bonded to 3 hydrogens, and this carbon is bonded to NO and bonded to NOH. So this is bonded to 3 hydrogens, and this carbon is bonded to 1O, 1O, 1H. C bonded to 1O, 1O, and 1H. Done? So this would have been the structural formula. सर कॉम्प सी की समझ नहीं आई। कॉम्प सी एक कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड है ना। आपको कैसे पता कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड है? वो कह रहा है एथेनॉल इज ऑक्सीडाइज्ड, सो व्हेन यू ऑक्सीडाइज एन एथेनॉल, व्हाट you're going to get is when you oxidize this alcohol for your course, what you're going to get is a carboxylic acid. Yes, you show double bonds between carbons in a structural formula. You don't show a condensed formula is structural formula. You don't show any other double bonds or triple bonds. You just show the double bonds or triple bonds between carbons in the structural formula. Lamar क्या हो गया है? Sir, what about condensed formula? Again, it's the same as structural formula. Sir, मैंने आपको WhatsApp पे मैसेज किया था. Please check that after class. ठीक है, I'll check it. अच्छा, आगे बढ़ें. The diagram shows some reactions of butanoic acid. Butanoic acid is a carboxylic acid, and he has given you the structure of it. And if I were to write the formula for butanoic acid, you're going to say jitne carbons and hydrogens are twice the number of that, plus 1, which is 7, and COOH. Sir, why did you insert 3 instead of 4? Because I know that one carbon is a part of COOH. So I need to insert 3 more, and this will be the formula for butanoic acid, because but means 4 carbons, and you have 3 here and 1 here. ठीक है? So that's the formula for butanoic acid. अच्छा, अब मैं आसानी से भी ये कर सकता हूँ, ये आपके लिए 2 सेकंड का काम मैं कर सकता हूँ, बट आई वॉन्ट टू राइट ऑल द रिएक्शंस फॉर यू सो यू गाइज ऑल्सो नो हाउ टू बैलेंस इट. C4H8O2 भी लिख सकते हैं, बिल्कुल लिख सकते हैं. बेहतर है कि आप फंक्शनल ग्रुप को अलग लिखें, विच इज द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ द एग्जामिनर. Acha ji. So if you have butanoic acid and you react it with magnesium, which gas are you gonna get? Obviously, you know that this is an acid, and whenever an acid reacts with a metal, what do you get? So the more reactive metal displaces the hydrogen of the acid, and you're gonna get what? You're gonna get a beautiful salt, and you're gonna get hydrogen gas. So this gas right here is hydrogen gas, and the salt that you're gonna get is this magnesium being bonded to this beautiful structure right here. This structure. Hydrogen to nikal jayega, and this structure that is going to be left behind, meth eth pro but, this is going to be the butanoate ion, right? And this will have a negative charge on it. So this salt is going to be called magnesium butanoate. और मैं आपके लिए equations भी लिखने लगा हूँ. So this salt is going to be called magnesium butanoate. And the salt B right here, if you react any acid with this beautiful metal right here, metal carbonate, so any acid plus metal carbonate would give me what? Acid plus metal carbonate gives me what? Any acid plus a metal carbonate gives me what? It gives me salt. And you realize that the carbonate ion would also result in the formation of carbon dioxide, and you'd have water being formed. What will be the name of the salt? The same. It's going to be magnesium butanoate. Carbon dioxide is going to form, and H2O is going to be the liquid, right? So carbon dioxide is this beautiful gas, and H2O is this beautiful liquid D. ठीक है जी? सर आज 12 बजे ख़त्म करें. आई एम वेरी टायर्ड. आई एम ऑल्सो टायर्ड. आज ख़त्म करते हैं जल्दी. एंड सॉल्ट बी इज़ अगेन इट्स द सेम मैग्नीशियम ब्यूटेनो. इसलिए देखिए दोनों को सॉल्ट बी का है इसने. सॉल्ट बी एक ही चीज़ बन रही है. अच्छा, it says, and if you heat it with ethanol, you realize that if you heat it with ethanol, and you also need another condition जो इसने नहीं लिखा, which is concentrated sulfuric acid, conc H2SO4 aqueous, right? So if you heat it with ethanol and provide conc H2SO4 aqueous, what you realize is a carboxylic acid and an alcohol would react to form organic liquid E, which is an ester, right? So ester की naming कैसी होती है? This ethanol, because it loses a hydrogen, it will become ethyl, and this butanoic acid, because it loses the OH, this will become butanoate. It will become the butanoate ion, right? So it's going to be called ethyl butanoate. Ethyl butanoate, right? This liquid E is called ethyl butanoate. What is liquid D? वैसे वो आपने ऊपर भी identify कि that's water, but what you realize is that when this ester forms, the carboxylic acid loses the OH and the alcohol loses the H, which forms H2O, right? So this liquid D again is what? H2O. This is the direct way of doing it. Now I want you guys to write the answers for it, and then I'll write all the equations for it as well, because my main goal is to also revise stuff for you guys, not to just do questions. So it's saying identify by name A, B, C, D. What is A? By name. It's saying don't write the formula, write the name. See, saying write the name, not formula. So don't write H2. Which gas am I going to write? I'm going to say this is hydrogen gas. Sir, B. What is B? B salt B. Magnesium butanoate. So it's magnesium butanoate. Sir, and मजा आ गया. अच्छा, that's awesome. And gas C is carbon dioxide, liquid D is H2O water. Carbon dioxide and liquid D is water. Reno. Now it says draw the structure of E. Now before I draw the structure of E, आज हम इन सबके equations देख ले. Equation देखना है साथ. सर हाइड्रोजन के साथ गैस लिखना है? नहीं भाई, नहीं लिखना है कोई गैस, वो नाम बस पूछ रहा है. बस हाइड्रोजन लिखने काफी है यार. अच्छा, इक्वेशंस कराऊं? चलो जी, इक्वेशंस कराते हैं. मैग्नीशियम रिएक्टिंग विद ब्यूटानोइक एसिड, तो कहना है से Mg प्लस ब्यूटानोइक एसिड का फॉर्मूला बताएं. ऊपर लिखा है C3H7COOH. C3H7COOH. What's going to happen is when these two beauties react, the magnesium is more reactive than the hydrogen in the acid. So it's going to displace this hydrogen and you're going to end up with H2 gas, right? Here, मेरे पास space नहीं है तो मैं नीचे लिख रहा हूँ. And you'll realize that the salt that's going to form is going to be between magnesium and this butanoate ion, right? So magnesium forms a charge of 2 plus ion and butanoate has a charge of 1 minus, right? All the carboxylate ions have a charge of 1 minus. So you tell me, you cross multiply, what do you get? You get C3H7COO whole twice Mg, right? इसको थोड़ा सा स्पेस दे देते हैं यार, स्पेस की कमी है. Plus H2 gas. That's it. Now, you guys also tell me something. Balancing सीख लेते हैं. बताएं जी. For one magnesium ion, how many butanoate ions do you need? You realize that for a 2 plus ion, you need to have 2 minuses, right? For a 2 plus ion, you need to have 2 minuses, but this is only 1 minus. तो कितने butanoate ions चाहिए? Obviously, you have to balance it. So for 2 plus, you need 2 minuses, but this is only 1 minus. Therefore, it needs 2 butanoate ions. And this is the concept behind writing HC3H7COO whole twice Mg. इसका मतलब क्या है कि for one magnesium ion you need two butanoate ions, and if you need two butanoate ions you have to balance it in the equation. I'm going to tell the examiner, okay, you don't need one butanoate ion, in fact you need these beautiful two butanoate ions, right? So for one magnesium it should react with 2 moles of butanoic acid, right? And this is now a balanced equation, because what you realize is you have 2 of this bit on the left and you have 2 of this bit on this bit on the right. You have 1 Mg and 1 Mg, and 2 times 1, that's 2 hydrogens on the left and you have 2 hydrogens on the right. That's a balanced equation. खत्म. अच्छा जी, इसका इक्वेशन दिखा दूं. इसका इक्वेशन इधर नीचे लिख लेते हैं. So if you have magnesium carbonate and I react it with the C3H7COOH, what's it gonna give me? You realize that the magnesium in the base and the magnesium in the base की जगह पहले the oxygen and the hydrogen, they're gonna combine together. The oxygen in the base and the hydrogen in the acid, they'll combine together to give you H2O. And you then realize that what's left behind in the carbonate ion, carbon dioxide is left behind, so that's gonna give me CO2. And then what's the salt that's going to form? What's the salt that's going to form? Magnesium makes an ion of 2 plus, and C3H7COO has a charge of -1. So for one magnesium ion, how many butanoate ions do you need? This is 2 plus, this is only 1 minus. For 2 plus, you need 2 minuses. This is 2 plus, this is only 1 minus. So I need how many butanoate ions? I need 2 butanoate ions. That's why I'm going to insert this 2 right here. And what's going to be the formula? It's C3H7 COO whole twice Mg, right? Khatam? And that's this beautiful balanced equation. Why is it balanced? Because you realize कि ये part, देखें, you could be very smart about it. देखें, this part right here, 2C3H7COO and C3H7COO2, these two are exactly ditto. So I don't need to look at this part and this part. There's one magnesium here and one magnesium here. Then there's one carbon here and there's one carbon here. There are 3 oxygens on the left and there's 2 plus 1, 3 oxygens on the right. And there's 2 times 1, 2 times 1. There's 2 hydrogens right here and there's 2 hydrogens right here. Sir, when do we involve charges in balancing? We always balance with charges. वो तो तुक्के से आपको टीचर्स पढ़ाते हैं, इधर 2 हैं तो इधर 3 हैं, इधर असल गेम तो चार्जेस की होती है. सर डिस्टिंक्शन के लिए क्या करना चाहिए? पढ़ लो, प्रैक्टिस कर लो. Why did you write magnesium after? Because that's the IUPAC standard way of writing it. देखिए मैग्नीशियम ने इस हाइड्रोजन को डिस्प्लेस किया है ना, इस हाइड्रोजन को डिस्प्लेस किया. सो द मैग्नीशियम शुड कम हियर. अगर आप नॉर्मल इनऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री में देखते हैं तो मैग्नीशियम हाइड्रोजन को किधर डिस्प्लेस करते हैं? इधर. तो दैट्स व्हाई इट कम्स फर्स्ट. बट इफ मैग्नीशियम इज डिस्प्लेस इन द हाइड्रोजन एट द फार राइट, देयरफॉर इट शुड कम राइट हियर देन. ठीक है. ड्रॉ द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ई. अच्छा वैसे हम ये ई का स्ट्रक्चर खुद से बना सकते हैं. देखिए आपके पास ब्यूटेनोइक एसिड है एंड यू हैव एथेनॉल. सो व्हाट्स गोना हैपन इज, if I have this beautiful butanoic acid right here, this is the structure functional group of a carboxylic acid, and then you have how many more carbons? Three more carbons. So that's butanoic acid right here, and he's saying I'm reacting it with ethanol. The functional groups must face each other, right? Why? Because the carboxylic acid loses the OH and the alcohol loses the H. So what's going to happen is this OH and H are going to go away to give you H2O. That's why it's also a condensation reaction. This is the beautiful structure. But in the exam, you have to write all the H's. I am not writing H's just to save time, but you guys have to write all the H's like so. उन्होंने कुछ भी ऐसे नहीं किया था, बस प्रैक्टिस करते थे. We won't have an iPad in our exam to replace it. So then you do it with a pencil right here. Whenever you draw structures, you do it with a pencils. How to know what to write the formula with, to know when do you know to write the formula with brackets? Whenever there's 2 or 3 or 4, then you add brackets to it. When it's just sodium has 1 plus and Cl is 1 minus, then there's no need for brackets. For 1 sodium you need 1 chloride. But if I'm saying magnesium has a charge of 2 plus and chloride is 1 minus, even here you say MgCl2. Why? Because there's only one species right here. But what if I say magnesium has a charge of 2 plus and nitrate is 1 minus? Now I have to add a bracket to show that you need 2 nitrate ions. If you don't add the bracket and you just say MgNO6, then that would mean that the nitrogen is bonded to 6 oxygens, which is wrong, right? So I hope this made sense. क्या क्या सवाल पूछ रहे हो? सही है, अच्छा है, पूछो पूछो. Sir, if we accidentally write an answer to the question using pencil, would the examiner still give marks? Yes. As long as you're using the proper pencil जो स्कैनेबल हो. वो वैसे भी स्कैन करके आपका पेपर जाता है. कौन सा कैम्ब्रिज आपका पेपर ऑफिशियली जाता है? स्कैन करके जाता है ना. Butanoic acid is a weak acid. What is meant by the term weak? Weak means what? Weak means what? Partially ionizes. So weak means that it partially, weak means that it partially ionizes, eh? In an aqueous solution. हाँ, does not completely dissociate भी कह सकते हो. यार it's this partially dissociates into H plus ion. वैसे तो ये definition weak acid की नहीं होती. Weak acid की definition होती है an acid which partially ionizes in an aqueous solution. और ये आपके एग्जामिनर ने सिलेबस में लिखा हुआ है. हाँ बिल्कुल, इट्स गोना हैव लेस H प्लस आयन. यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट. सर ऊपर करें थोड़ा. हाँ लेकिन वीक इन इटसेल्फ, देखें एसिड का मतलब उसने नहीं पूछा, उसने सिर्फ कहा वीक का मतलब क्या है. तो जब आप सिर्फ वीक का मतलब कह रहे हो तो वीक का मतलब होता है पार्शियली आयनाइज. हाँ वीक एसिड का क्या मतलब है? पार्शियली आयनाइजेस इनटू द H प्लस आयंस इन एन एक्वस सॉल्यूशन. फिर सही. Can we say partially ionizes in water? It's fine, but it's better to say in an aqueous solution because that's what the syllabus says. Yeah. Acha. The table shows the names of structures of organic compounds P to U. What is P? P is my beautiful alkane. Which alkane is P? Which alkane? Oh my God, what has happened to the screen? Something is wrong with the screen. पता नहीं, मुझे अजीब सा दिख रहा है. Wait. Let me pause the recording and reopen my app because it's glitching now. सर आप आईपैड पे गेम खेलते हैं? नहीं. अच्छा, दिस इज माय ब्यूटीफुल एल्कीन एंड दैट्स प्रोपेन. व्हाट्स द फॉर्मूला फॉर प्रोपेन? जितने कार्बन्स हैं हाइड्रोजन्स आर ट्वाइस द नंबर ऑफ दैट प्लस 2, राइट? एंड दैट्स प्रोपेन. आई कैन आल्सो नेम इट, दैट्स प्रोपेन. Prop is the suffix, prefix, and ane drops down as the suffix. Propanoic acid, carboxylic acid, a 3-carbon carboxylic acid. What's going to be the formula for it? Jitne carbons and hydrogens are twice the number of that plus 1 COOH, right? Why am I writing 2 instead of 3? Because 1 carbon is already here. But1ene, but1ene means that there's a double bond between the first and second carbon, right? इसलिए तो इसका नाम but1ene है. अगर but2ene होता, but2ene would mean that this double bond would be in the middle, right here. क्यों? Because when you select the longest carbon chain, you start numbering from the side where the double bond is the closest. So you call this butene, but between but and ene, you insert the number of the functional group, which is between 1 and 2. 1 and 2 में छोटा जो होता है उसका आते हैं, 1 and 2 में 1 हम insert कर देते हैं. फर्स्ट एंड से काउंट क्यों शुरू करते हैं? क्योंकि यू स्टार्ट नंबरिंग फ्रॉम द साइड वेयर द डबल बॉन्ड और द फंक्शनल ग्रुप इज द क्लोजेस्ट. कह दो ना प्लस टू, हाँ. और फॉर्मूला क्या होगा? जितने कार्बन हैं हाइड्रोजन आर ट्वाइस द नंबर ऑफ दैट. अच्छा जी, नेक्स्ट प्रोपानोल प्रोपैन वन ओल. प्रोपैन वन ओल, अगेन दिस मीन्स दैट द OH इज ऑन द फर्स्ट कार्बन, राइट? आप अगर नेमिंग इसकी करें, यू सेलेक्ट द लॉन्गेस्ट कार्बन, स्टार्ट नंबरिंग फ्रॉम द साइड वेयर द OH इज द क्लोजेस्ट और द फंक्शनल ग्रुप इज द क्लोजेस्ट. So it's 1 2 3. So meth eth propan, but you need to insert the number of the functional group which is on the first carbon. So it's propan 1 ol. What's the formula? जितने कार्बन हैं हाइड्रोजन are twice the number of that plus 1 OH. Methyl butanoate, that's an ester. Methyl butanoate is an ester. And how would it look? Well, you realize that you had butanoic acid right here. You first of all draw the functional group. That's your carboxylic acid functional group, and you needed 4 carbons. You've already drawn one. So, ek, do, teen or. That's how butanoic acid looks like, right? And methyl is what? 1 carbon alcohol. तो होता क्या है? The carboxylic acid loses the OH, the alcohol loses the H, and this is how this beautiful ester would look like. ठीक है, ये बाकी सारे हाइड्रोजन्स हैं. NH2O forms. That's why it's a condensation reaction. Sir is not writing hydrogens in structural formula. Okay, no, it's not okay. लिखना होता है hydrogens. क्या मतलब? This is the displayed formula. It's not the structural formula. लिखने होते हैं hydrogens. ये तो मैं सिर्फ टाइम बचाने के लिए सिर्फ डंडियाँ डाल दूँ. सर मुझे स्ट्रक्चर्स ड्रॉ करने में प्रॉब्लम होती है. किडो वॉच द ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री लेक्चर्स. मिस नूर को कांटेक्ट करें. मैं क्या करूँ? किसी दिन कर देंगे. अच्छा, एंड अगर ये देखें, व्हाट इज दिस? मेथ एथ प्रोप. दिस इज व्हाट? प्रोपीन, बट नॉट जस्ट प्रोपीन, इट इज प्रोप 1ene. Why is it prop 1ene? Because you realize that the double bond is between the first and second carbon, और इन दोनों में से छोटा नंबर जो होता है, that's how we insert the functional group. अच्छा ठीक है, खदीजा कर लेते हैं. अच्छा, now let's look at the question. It says give letters of the organic compounds P to U that are unsaturated. Unsaturated का मतलब क्या होता है? Unsaturated, अब इधर 10 बच्चे गलती करेंगे probably. Unsaturated means that at least one carbon bond is not a single bond. No, it doesn't mean carbon double bond. Remember, unsaturated means that at least one carbon bond is not a single bond. It can be a double bond, it can be a triple bond, right? So if it's a double bond or a triple bond, it's still going to be unsaturated. Unsaturated का मतलब at least one carbon bond is not a double bond or a triple bond. अब देखिएगा, is not a single bond, sorry. अब आप देखिएगा इन सब में से किन दो में कार्बन कार्बन एटलीस्ट वन कार्बन कार्बन बॉन्ड है जो कि सिंगल नहीं. इसमें दिस अ कार्बन कार्बन डबल बॉन्ड, दिस अ कार्बन कार्बन डबल बॉन्ड, देयरफॉर दिस इज अनसैचुरेटेड. अनसैचुरेटेड इस केस में मतलब है कार्बन कार्बन डबल बॉन्ड. बट इजंट सर टी अनसैचुरेटेड एज वेल? Isn't Q unsaturated as well? This is also a double bond. Oh, you dumbos. Oh, you dumbos. I've taught this in my life class as well, and many teachers have this wrong as well. This double bond with oxygen is not the definition in which, wherein the definition of unsaturated falls. No, in unsaturated you need to look at the carbon carbon bonds, not carbon bonded to other atoms, please. So even though it's a double bond, we will still consider this as a saturated compound because all the carbon bonds are single bonds. Okay? So it's only R and U. Done. Describe a test for unsaturated hydrocarbon. It's bromine water test, right? So add Br2 aqueous. We also call this bromine water test. Bromine water test. अच्छा, अगर Br2 लिक्विड ऐड करते थे ना, फिर ब्रोमीन लिक्विड टेस्ट होता. ब्रोमीन एक्वस इज ऑरेंज, ब्रोमीन लिक्विड, हाँ ब्रोमिनेशन भी इसको कहते हैं. ब्रोमीन एक्वस इज ऑरेंज, ब्रोमीन लिक्विड इज ब्राउन. If you are adding bromine aqueous, then you say that it decolorizes. Bromine aqueous decolorizes, or you could say bromine aqueous goes from / you could say it goes from orange to colorless. But if God forbid you added bromine liquid, then you would not say it goes from orange to colorless, then you would say it goes from brown to colorless. There's no dumb question पूछेगा. सर इस मिथाइल ब्यूटेनोएट का स्ट्रक्चरल फार्मूला दोबारा समझाएं बेटा. इसमें कुछ भी नहीं है. मेथनॉल बनाया, ब्यूटेनोइक एसिड बनाया. द ब्यूटेनोइक एसिड में द कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड लॉस्ट द OH, द अल्कोहल लॉस्ट द H, एंड आई जस्ट जॉइन देम. हाउ डज वन टू ब्रोमो, दफा करें, हाउ डज इट लुक लाइक. अच्छा, ब्यूटीन ब्यूट वन इन इज एन अनब्रांच्ड मॉलिक्यूल. इट्स एन अनब्रांच्ड मॉलिक्यूल मतलब इसमें इसने कोई डंडियां नहीं मारी हैं, ब्रांच ब्रूंच नहीं किया. नेम द अनब्रांच्ड आइसोमर ऑफ ब्यूट वन इन. अब ब्यूट वन इन का अनब्रांच्ड आइसोमर क्या था? मैंने आपको क्या सिखाया था कि दिस इज ब्यूट वन इन, एंड इफ यू वांट टू ड्रॉ द अनब्रांच्ड आइसोमर, व्हाट डू? You just shift the position of the double bond. And this is my beautiful structured formula. So now it's going to be but2ene. हाँ जी. हलवा 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 कुछ भी नहीं है. अच्छा, ड्रॉ द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ब्रांच्ड आइसोमर. ब्रांच, अब वो कह रहे हैं इसको ब्रांच करो. रिमेंबर, but aren't isomers always branched? No, Shamin, this is also a structural isomer which is called a position isomer. Branched को chain isomers कहते हैं, और एक functional group isomer भी होता है. सारा मैंने पढ़ाया हुआ है, बल्कि आपने तो मेरी क्लासेस नहीं की, तो टीचर से पूछे. अच्छा, ब्रांच करें इसको. ब्रांच करने में क्या मुश्किल है, राइट? यू जस्ट ड्रॉ द 3 कार्बन एज दे आर, और एक कार्बन को एक के सर पे लगाने हैं. बट आई एम नॉट गोना गेट 1 मार्क फॉर दिस. वाई वुड आई नॉट गेट 1 मार्क फॉर दिस? मैंने सिर्फ क्या किया, एक CH3 को उठा के ब्रांच कर दिया, इधर ब्रांच में लगा दिया. वाई वुड आई नॉट गेट 1 मार्क फॉर दिस? वाई वुड आई गेट 0 फॉर दिस? Because I need to show all the bonds. So therefore, I'm not gonna write CH3. I'm gonna say C bonded to H, bonded to H, bonded to H. और ये भी H है, ये भी H है, ये भी H है. वैसे तो H's आप खुद भी बना सकते हैं, but that's it. You need to show fully draw CH3. Dodecane is an alkane with 12 carbon atoms. Dodecane can be cracked. Okay, great job. What is the formula of dodecane? If it's an alkane, and you realize, even if you hadn't said it, you realize that it ends with an A and E. So it's an alkane. Bas khatam kar raha hu. So it's going to be how many carbons? So you have 12 carbons. Hydrogens will be twice the number of that, which is 24 plus 2, that's 26. Give the letters of all organic compounds P to U that can be formed when dodecane is cracked. See, when alkanes are cracked, they form what? They form more useful, they form smaller, more useful hydrocarbons, right? It's not necessary कि वो alkenes ही देंगे. They can form alkenes and alkanes. It doesn't make a difference, but they must be smaller, right? They're smaller. And they could also form hydrogen gas. अगर dodecane को मैं crack करूँ into decene, the second compound would be obviously your hydrogen gas, right? So if I look at my beautiful alkynes are not a part of your course. So if I look at my beautiful compounds right here, you realize that dodecane can be cracked to form this beautiful alkane. It can be cracked to form your butene, and it can also be cracked to form propene. And no, not propanoic acid, not butanol, not methyl butanol, because dodecane is an alkane. Alkane को crack करके एसिड तो नहीं बनता है, अल्कोहल तो नहीं बनता है, एस्टर तो नहीं बनता, तो क्या बनता है? एल्केन, ब्यूटीन स्मॉलर चेन. हाँ, अगर इधर कोई हाइड्रोजन गैस होता तो वो भी पॉसिबिलिटी बन सकती थी. बट फॉर नाउ इट्स जस्ट पी आर यू. मरियम, बस बस आखिरी आखिरी सवाल रह गए. ये खत्म तो कर लूँ. 20 मार्क का सवाल है यार, ये पूरा बस खत्म होने लगा, बस खत्म. नेम द reagent and suggest the conditions needed to convert organic compound U into S. U into S जाने. U क्या बोला है? U is प्रोपोनिन, और S क्या बोला है? प्रोपनोल. सो एल्कीन टू अल्कोहल. जब भी ऐसे सवाल हो ना, आप अपने लिए जनरलाइज किया करें. Alkene to alcohol. How do you go from alkene to alcohol? How do you go from alkene? What's the reagent? The reagent is steam. You're not going to write H2O gas. Why shouldn't I write H2O gas? Because he's saying name kar do, formula na likho. And conditions kya hai? 300 degrees Celsius, 60 atmospheres, and a catalyst. And what is that catalyst for us? For us, it's acidified aqueous phosphoric acid. Slash H plus का मतलब होता है acidified. खत्म. Reagent is not hydration, that's the addition reaction. अच्छा, ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड एस कैन बी कन्वर्टेड टू ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड क्यू। अब एस टू क्यू आप जा सकते हैं विद एन एसिडिफाइड रिएजेंट। वो पहले से कह रहे हैं मैंने एसिडिफाइड किया। एस टू क्यू, एस क्या बोला है देख लें। एस इज माई एल्कोहल एंड क्यू इज कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड। देखिए जनरलाइज कर रहा हूँ, alcohol to carboxylic acid. How do you go from alcohol to carboxylic acid? That's basically oxidation reaction. And which reagent do you need? You need acidified aqueous potassium manganate. But since he's already said it's acidified, I'll just name it as potassium manganate 7. You have to write the complete name. It's potassium manganate 7, not just potassium manganate. है? ठीक है, बढ़े आगे। नेम द एसिडिफाइड रिएजेंट एडेड टू ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड एस। अच्छा अच्छा, सॉरी। ही सेइंग नेम द टाइप ऑफ केमिकल चेंज। द टाइप ऑफ केमिकल चेंज इज ऑब्वियसली ऑक्सीडेशन। टाइप ऑफ केमिकल चेंज तो ऑक्सीडेशन है ना। हाँ, दिस रिएजेंट, दिस एसिडिफाइड रिएजेंट इज पोटेशियम मैंगनेट 7। खत्म। आगे बढ़े। Organic compound T is made by reacting two compounds together. Organic compound T, which is organic compound T? हाँ, which two compounds were added? Sir, alcohol was methanol and butanoate came from butanoic acid. ठीक है जी। So you know that you needed methanol and you needed butanoic acid. And what are the conditions for it? You need conc H2SO4 and heat till 200 degrees Celsius. Now, it says, what is the homologous series that organic compound T belongs to? It's an ester. The homologous series is esters. Acha, name two compounds which react together to make compound T. We've already named them. It's one is methanol and the other one is butanoic acid. Oh my God. Butanoic acid. Sir, how do you draw the structure of methanol? Exactly. Remember, alcohol का structure बिल्कुल alkenes की तरह बनता है, but instead of one hydrogen, we add the OH. And I'm going to show all the atoms and all the bonds. That's why I'm not going to write OH. I'll write O bonded to H. And obviously, these are hydrogens. अपने लिए लिखा करें, मैं नहीं लिखता टाइम बचाने के। And butanoic acid. Whenever you want to make carboxylic acid, it's very easy to make it. कैसे बनाते हैं? You draw the functional group first, which is C double bonded to OOH right here. And then how many more carbons do you need? But means 4. So एक कार्बन ये है, कितने और चाहिए? एक, दो, तीन, और बाकी सिर्फ हाइड्रोजन्स के बॉन्ड्स पूरे करने हैं। So that's H, खत्म। Deduce the molecular formula of compound T. What's the molecular formula of compound T? इसको अगर मैं copy करके पेस्ट, what do we mean by molecular formula? Molecular formula refers to the number and type of different atoms in a molecule. So if I just copy this and paste this right over here, you'll realize that if you were to write the molecular formula, just add the carbons, add the hydrogens, and add the oxygens, right? तो oxygens तो दो हैं, carbons और hydrogens को add करें कितने बनते हैं? You have how many carbons? Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. So you have 5 carbons. And how many hydrogens do you have? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So C5H10O2. खत्म। Guys, most of you are slacking off in organic chemistry. आप लोगों की organic chemistry क्यों इतनी weak है? मतलब लिखें अपने टीचरों के नाम, नहीं मजाक करूँ ना लिखें, बट दिस इज नॉट गुड। यू नीड टू। और ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री सबसे आसान है, और मैं आपको बताऊं 15-20 मार्क आपके इस पेपर में ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री से आते हैं, जो कि हलवा है। 6 घंटों का कोर्स है, वो देख लें मेरा, तो बहुत सिंपल हो गया। 6 घंटों का मिसनूर को मैसेज करें, वो बस देख लें, ठीक है। पता नहीं कौन पढ़ा रहा है आपको, क्योंकि हलवा ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री मतलब ये सवाल करते हुए तो मुझे अपने आप को ऐसे लग रहा था कि आई डोंट, राइट। तो जस्ट वॉच, 6 घंटों में आपकी पूरी ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री हो जाएगी, सीरियसली A to Z, अगर पहले कुछ भी नहीं आता। मिसनूर को मैसेज कर दें, कॉल शॉल कर दें, मैसेज ड्रॉप कर दें, शील गाइड यू। सर आपका कोर्स बहुत महंगा है, जालिमों खुदा का खौफ करो। 40,000 रुपए का टोटल कोर्स था 4 महीनों का, और हम 25 पे ले आए ताकि आप लोग वो देख सको हैं। मिस नूर नीड्स अ रेज आफ्टर ऑल द मैसेजेस, शी ऑलरेडी हैज अ गुड अमाउंट ऑफ रेज। प्लीज ऐड मी टू द ग्रुप, खुद ऐड कर दें। 6 घंटों में पूरी ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री, जो उनको कहें हम ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री का क्रैश कोर्स देना चाहते हैं, ठीक है। असल में इल बी अनफेयर टू ऑल द अदर स्टूडेंट्स हु ऑलरेडी टेकन आवर सेशन। ओ नहीं बच्चे, नहीं नहीं नहीं, अनलेस एंड अनटिल देयर इज एक्चुअली कोई फाइनेंशियल प्रॉब्लम किसी को हो, तो वो अपने वो चीज़ें, वो मिसनूर कुछ चीज़ें मांगती, वो उनको भेजें तो आपको फ्री में पोर्टल दे देगी, वो कोई इशू नहीं है। नो बडी शुड बी लेफ्ट बिहाइंड फॉर फाइनेंशियल इशू। लेकिन जो बंदा एवं ड्रामे कर रहा होता है तो बाकी बच्चों ने दिए होते हैं तो देख लें। मर गई मैं। अच्छा चलो, दैट्स गुड। एनी क्वेश्चंस अप टू दिस पॉइंट गाइस? एनी क्वेश्चंस?